Thanks for logging on to myfoxhurricane.com. So here's the names that we've used so far this season. Still, all things considered, early on in the season. It's not until we get into really about the second part of August, heading towards September, that's when you're starting to really expect to see more of that activity in the season, especially if you're looking for an above or an average season. And that's what many of the experts are calling for, that above average season. So next name on the list is Emily. When will we get to Emily? Well, that remains to be seen. I can tell you right now, things are quiet across the tropics. You look into the Gulf of Mexico, and there is hardly a cloud to speak of. Same story down across the Caribbean as well. We do have a little bit of area through the central and the western Caribbean with some stronger wind shear, so these areas are really not favorable to see anything develop as well. And you do have a couple of very weak tropical waves working their way through, but the thing that you notice, there's just really not much in the way of any convection with those. Now, as we work our way further out into the Atlantic, this time of the year, we are looking further out into the Atlantic. Conditions are generally becoming more conducive that we would see something developing out here. And we've got a couple of tropical waves working their way from the east towards the west, but really very limited convection with this. And they're also seen pretty far to the south. Just to the north of that, you're seeing some stronger wind shear. So at this point, there's just no signs of anything developing as we go through the short term. The other thing that we're watching is just a lot of this dry air, which just continues to work its way off the coast of Africa. That is that dry Saharan air, the dust in the atmosphere. And so as you watch the Fox model over the next several days, what you see is that just continues to work its way across the Atlantic into the Caribbean, and you're just not seeing a single sign of anything developing. So bottom line is, we're not expecting to see anything over the next, say, 5 to 7 days. But as we continue to move towards September 10th, which is the peak of the season, as we work our way through the next several weeks here, this is when we really have to start to pay attention. Remember last year, it was a very, very quiet year, unusually quiet. And then it just changed very abruptly once we got into September and became a very active September. So we got to watch this very closely, and we'll keep you updated right here on myfoxhurricane.com.